G'day and welcome to Kenty Blitz, your daily hit of NRL news. Actually, Kenny, it's been a while since we've asked how your health's going, mate.
Yeah, it's going good. Yeah, look, I'm just good. I'm waiting for scans in a couple of months to make sure. At the moment, I'm still cooking, so to speak.
Got the colour back in your face, though.
Yeah, look, everything's sort of going all right. I'm starting to be able to chew again, which is nice.
You eating?
Yeah, I'm eating food, which is again nice because there was a period there where I wasn't. But other than that, mate, it's just a wait and see now. I've got to just get scans in a few months, and if it's good, it's good. If it's not, then more treatment. So we're just waiting to see. It's not much I can do till then, to be honest.
And you're riding your bike to the studio?
I'm riding my bike in. Yeah,
is that a struggle or
mate?
It's
I'll be honest with you. It's amazing how much your body, when you go through the chemo and the radiation, how much your body just weakens. And I've got no strength at all. Like I was riding home yesterday actually, and this girl went past me, and it wasn't just, it's just the speed she went past me. I just thought,
she gave you the ding ding.
I just thought, she just flew. Anyway, look, I don't pass anyone. A lot of people are passing me, but I'm getting. You got
an electric bike, or what do you got?
No, I haven't got an electric bike. I've got the old-fashioned one, mate, where you just ride it and you've got it. It's all pedal power. But anyway,
maybe we need a GoFundMe page or a sponsor from an e-bike. There's an e-bike sponsor out there.
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Very good. So, Kenty, yesterday we did your quarterly reviews of all the different teams. There was some great feedback on YouTube and a lot of comments down there, some agreeing, some disagreeing, which is always good. We're going to continue that today before we do the match previews later on. Bit of fun, something different, right?
Fun for you, what?
Fun for me,
Not so much for me.
Yeah, I'm not under the spotlight. Let's start off with Brisbane, who are ranked 11th or in 11th position now. This time last year were third and fourth.
Yeah, look, they've had a funny year, haven't they, the Broncos? There's been drama on field, off field. They haven't quite found their game. What's happening with Adam Reynolds, Pat Carrigan suspended at the moment. They haven't been particularly strong. Like we thought the reigning premiers would come back this year. The fact that they're so low on the ladder, I think, is a concern. And why we're talking about this, I mentioned it yesterday, but I just want to repeat it again, is that the correlation last year between how the ladder looked after 6 rounds, it wasn't exactly how it finished, but the surprises we saw last year managed to continue to be surprises. The disappointments last year, in many cases, continued to be disappointments. Penrith were the anomaly. They went from second last at this point last year up to I think they finished 7th and made the finals. But even then, the Penrith, even the run they went on to only go from 16th to 7th, they improved 9 spots. That's a lot. But it just shows you how difficult it is to go up the ladder if you're not going well. And even after 6 rounds, it's almost like the die is cast. So Brisbane, they're in a little bit of bother, the fact that they're 13th. The fact that they're 11th.
Yeah.
The fact that they're 11th. They're close enough still to touch the finals, but already you're starting to say top 4 might be too far. That's 7 spots they've got to pick up. Now the Panthers, given the run they went on against much lesser teams than what Brisbane will be trying to get past themselves.
Yeah, good call.
They only went up 9 spots.
Yep, good call.
So for the Penrith to get Brisbane to get to top 4, it's already looking too far. So I'm putting a line through the Broncos as a premiership contender. To be fair,
really?
Yeah, I don't think they can make it. It's just too tough already. I think they're going to be outside the top 4, and as we know, no team in the NRL era has won outside the top 4. Has won the comp.
What about the point that they've been kind of acting in this turmoil and this bloody storms?
Well, that doesn't matter. That's the reality.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like you can argue, you make excuses for it, and you can say hopefully it'll fix up. But there's no guarantee that it's going to stop. But the reality is that's their reality. They're dealing with it. They've got to deal with it. And it's, you can argue whether it's affecting them or not. Now they play who they got this week? They've got the Tigers down in Campbelltown. They've never lost at Campbelltown, so that helps them. But we'll wait and see. They've never played the Tigers when Tigers running second either. So
true.
We'll see how that holds.
Interesting. If you didn't know their position on the ladder, you would think Brisbane would do better in these new rules based on the strike power they've got in Walsh.
Yeah. Well, Reece Walsh has got a busted face at the moment, and the halves are still sort of being jockeyed around, and Shibasaki said he's come back too fat over the off season. So they've had a few issues, but all those issues are why they're now 11th.
Did he say that? Did he? Shibasaki?
Yeah, he just said he enjoyed himself too much over the off season. That's why he got dropped a few weeks back.
Can't shoot a man for that, can you?
Well, look, good luck to him. But
was me too.
But the part that's hard to understand about that is the guy who 12 months ago was on a training trial contract. And was basically fighting for survival in the game, who then had this magnificent season where he plays Origin and he's a breakout star. And then, okay, go and enjoy it, but don't enjoy it to the extent that it's going to cost you your job the following season.
Maybe that's why he's in that position, though, Kenty. Well, maybe that's his character from previous years.
That could be right.
Well, let's talk about your team, the West Tigers, in second position. This time last year was 7th and finished 13th.
Yeah. And look, let's remember last year they had a lot of ups and downs going on. This time last year, they were dealing all with the Lachlan Galvin situation. It was about this time last year that I think he was released. So that sort of played into their fall last year from 7th to 13th, where they finished. But this year, they're a different side. They're sitting in second. They're playing a style of footy that's just made for the modern game, made for the current game anyway. So there's a lot to like. They've got depth. They've got Taylor Mays. If he doesn't come back this weekend, he's back soon. He just gives them tremendous strike out wide. They're just a side that's ready to do something. I think they're looking top 4 now.
Well, they've adapted well to the new rules, but they also recruited well in the off season.
They've done a really good job. The club
Paul has been a standout.
Yeah, and they've gone and found the right player for the right position that they needed improvement. It's been really purpose picked, and for that reason, that and the fact they've got a little bit of depth, they won't really lose a lot of players through Origin, which will give them a couple of wins, hopefully, that they pick up there. And then that really sets them up for a run home into the top 4 spot.
Do you think Richo's fingerprints are coming through on that club?
No, not really.
It's Benji?
I think it's largely Benji. Yeah, Richo did a fair job when he was there, okay? Like it wasn't terrible. But yeah, things like Jerome Luai had agreed to terms with the Tigers, hadn't signed the contract, agreed before Richo arrived. Richo arrived and he signed the contract and everyone sees it as Richo signing. So things like that, there's a little bit of stuff behind the scenes that people don't know. But Richo did I thought, a pretty good job. But Benji's the man. Benji's the one he's changed the attitude. The fact Benji came out last week after the Newcastle game, and he wasn't going to say it at the press conference, and he sat there and he had a little fight, and he had the angel on this side and he had the devil on this side, and he thought, bugger it, I'm going to say it, which is a bit like myself sometimes.
You know what? When you were saying that, I was thinking exactly the same thing.
But the fact he came out and said, look, I'm really disappointed with the last 15 minutes, and he said it wasn't the standard we set, that was wonderful. That's the stuff you want to hear from your coach, and that's the stuff that made Craig Bellamy the coach he is. Craig Bellamy would sit there and say, look, we won the game, mate, but you didn't do your job. Didn't care that they won by 30 points. You didn't do your job. Yeah. Benji's holding every player accountable to their job. And we're seeing the result of that. So he's got guys, like honestly, you wouldn't want to run into some of those blokes on a bad day. They are just in. They are in for the battle. That's what the Tigers have never really been that side in for a decade. But these guys are there for the battle, and that's the difference in them.
Very aggressive, and their halves depth is phenomenal.
Yeah,
what they've done there. The interesting thing is they now play Brisbane, the Raiders, Sharks, and the Storm.
Yeah,
who were all finalists last year.
So
the next month will be the test for them,
and that'll take them through to Origin. Okay, so that'll take them through the Origin period. Then I think they get the bye after that, which they don't really need, but that's when everyone gets the bye. But they'll come through Origin. They'll lose Luai. They may lose a couple other players here and there, but I don't think they'll have a big sacrifice in that area. So I think they'll come through the Origin period pretty well.
The interesting thing about the West Tigers, Kenty, is we talk about Benji ball and attack and winning from everywhere. They're ranked second behind Penrith in defence.
Yeah, that's the hidden secret, isn't it? Yeah, and I think that's because they're just athletes and they're the style of play that they've been coached to play attacking wise, it kind of works defensively where you've just got to adapt and react, and you do it with speed, and that's what they're doing. They're reacting. They're not set in stone defensively, but it's working for them because they're reacting to whatever the opposition is giving them, and they've got the speed and the fitness to get there and shut it down.
Let's talk about Penrith. Penrith are now first. This time last year they were 16th, and finished 7th.
Yeah. Last year they were 16th because they brought in some new players, Casey McLean, Talangi, guys like that, who really struggled to understand Penrith's attacking system. Now, I don't understand it as the way it is, but it works on a system whereby wherever you are, whatever's happening, this is choice A, and if you can't do choice A, you do choice B, and if you don't do, and then there's choice. So there's a strict etiquette about how you go about your defensive reads. And apparently it takes a bit of work to get used to, and these guys struggle to get used to it, and that's why we were seeing gaps in Penrith's defence last year because the new guys were not quite reading it well enough, and teams were capitalising on it, and they were getting points scored against them. But once it worked, Warren, they went on a run, didn't they? Once those guys figured it out and it became ingrained and it became instinctive, that's the important thing. You got to train it and train it and train it till it becomes instinctive. Once that happened, Penrith went on a run. This off-season, all they've had to do is redefine it. They've had a look at the way the game's played. They pick up the way the nuances in the game, how they shift better than most clubs, and they have adapted to the new understanding of the 6 again rule better than anyone, which is why they're first in attack and first in defence, and they're leading the competition, and already they're the team to beat. I know they got beat last week against the Bulldogs, but they are still the team to beat.
You talked a little bit yesterday about how teams how they start is generally where they finish, and there's a few exceptions to the Penrith, but they've absolutely started on fire. Yeah. And they're the marker.
Well, they're the lock for the minor premiership already, and they're just getting wound in to win the premiership. There was a couple of little indicators last week that I think a few opposition teams would have looked at and said, okay.
With the
Bulldogs, that's how we're going to attack them, that's how we're going to try and beat Penrith. But let's remember too, Penrith will look at that as well and say, let's make sure this doesn't happen again.
Let's talk about the Roosters. They're now in 8th position. This time last year they were 15th and finished 8th.
Yeah.
They're still trying to figure out kind of how to fix their 6 and 7, right?
Yeah,
or how to fit them in.
It's not gelling as you would like right now. Cherry Evans and Sam Walker. But the one thing the Roosters have got, I think the Roosters will still make a bit of a move. Last year they weren't travelling that well at this point of the year, and they still managed to finish 8th. Okay, they got going a little bit. Trent Robinson he's shown over the years at the Roosters, he's got an ability with his team to start off where they're a bit of a mess, but they do more than any side, I would dare say. They improve to the point where at the end of the year they almost unrecognisable compared to what they were at the beginning of the season.
They're kind of the antithesis of Penrith, right? They make so many changes each year.
Yeah.
You know, they bring players in, they discard players who they don't think are up to it.
Well, this year was certainly set up as a premiership challenge. This year, last year was all about setting up for this year. And they did that some years back. The Cooper Croc example, what they did with him, when you look at when he came to the club, the year before they were setting up to win the comp in 2018. And they're doing that with Cherry Evans. They've brought him in to try and get him to manage the big moments in games that the quality halves do. Okay, now he's still figuring out with Sam Walker who dominates the play calling, who gets priority, things like that. And that can cause a little bit of just rough edges between the halves, particularly a guy like Sam Walker who's so instinctive. Cherry Evans is a little bit more stuck in the game plan, so to speak. But they'll get it right. I've got no doubt they'll get it right. And when they get it right, they'll start putting some wins together. So I expect them to go up the ladder.
Which is kind of makes sense. You know, you look at their attack, they're equal 14th.
Yeah.
So they haven't got their attack yet.
They haven't got it worked out yet. But they will not stay there. They will start to find a way to get some points together because, once Cherry Evans works out particularly how to play with Tedesco, hunting them around the ruck, like I said, they play a long game. the Roosters. They play, look, this is where we're at, but this is where we'll be at. And most importantly, Trent Robinson has shown his players, so they believe, he's shown his players that he can do it with them, that he can take it from here and get them to there by round 27. So they'll believe in that and whatever the plan is.
It kind of reinforces the idea, Kenty, that nothing beats playing there and nothing beats getting out on the field. They have 3 or 4 months of training. Yeah. But it's still clunky until you start playing games, right?
Yeah, and Robbo likes to play a certain style of footy, which is not a traditional way. So it does take a little bit of getting used to sometimes, particularly for a player like Cherry Evans, who's had 15 years, where he's basically... He's dictated how they play at Manly. That's what he was job by. Now he's got to fit into another system.
I'm interested to hear your take on this one, Kenty. Still on the 13th. This time last year, second. Finished second. Have the third best attack in the comp behind Penrith and the Warriors.
Yeah, third best, but that's not their problem, is it?
Can't defend.
Can't. And look, Craig Bellamy admitted it as much. He said they spent all last week working on their defence. And, players know what that's like. To have one of those weeks where, boys, don't worry about the football this week.
Terrible.
Don't worry about the football. We're going to start doing and all you do is just repetition and drills, and they are always the worst weeks in footy. But at the end of the week, they were no better, and that's the concern. And this is sort of where I've been sort of hammering on a little bit about lately, Warren, is such as the change that style of defending, it's just not working. That style of
the old wrestle style.
The old wrestle. The wrestle's not working. You just can't. You can't dominate sets now like you used to be able to with the wrestle. But the ability to get set and to be able to maintain your structure defensively for set after set after set is not there. Teams are finding ways to get a quick play the ball one, even though you're trying as hard as you can to hold a guy down. They're now working on quick play the ball one. Now that can. If you look like you're getting up and they have to commit a foul to hold you down, then it's 6 again and off you go again. Now, teams have been doing that to try and get some superiority in their defensive line in that contest. But a lot of teams are also figuring out, okay, well, that's what they're doing to us, so let's get our quicker guys in for the play one, who get the quick play of the ball, who can get up and get going, and then suddenly they're coming at you. And that defensive structure is just broken. And Melbourne... they're not used to it. So they're sitting there going, hang on, this isn't supposed to happen. Whereas other teams, West Tigers, we've been here before, we know how to handle this, and off they go. So that's and it's going to be a real test of coaching for Melbourne to see how they adjust, and it's going to be a real contest for the players to see if they can adjust, because it's against everything that they've known.
Okay, Newcastle, 6th, have been one of the great improvers and one of the great teams to watch. 6th on the ladder. This time last year they were 12th and finished with the spoon. Yeah,
finished with the spoon. Look, they collapsed last year when the trouble with the coach and all the rest of it. So that's behind them, going from 12th to 17th. Holbrook has just been wonderful for him. He's come in. He's found a style of footy that's not so reliant on Kalen Ponga. Newcastle have always been a side that's, the minute Caitlin's not in the side, that they can't score points. They went through a period last year, I think it was 5-6 games in a row, where they didn't score a point in the first half. And I thought that might continue this year, particularly early on when they got Kalen hurt, and what was his name? Dylan Brown was also hurt.
And Fletcher Sharp.
But just the style of footy that they're playing as a team, they're setting each other up, they're working for each other, they're creating opportunities, and they're a side they're playing a knowledgeable kind of footy. They play like they know what they're trying to achieve. And look, they're not going to probably win the comp this year. They're not going to win the comp this year, let's be honest. But they're going to give it a shout. I think they're a definite finals chance. They're not a top 4 chance, but they're a definite finals chance, provided they get their share of luck and they continue going the way they go.
It's interesting that you look at teams and they're kind of horses for courses. What the coach decides, and Holbrook's obviously looked at that side, and like you just said, Kalen Ponga's been out for long periods during his career, and he said, okay, well, let's build a team which doesn't matter what kind of who comes in and out, right? Fletcher Sharp's been injured, at 6 and 7. It's
Caitlin's got rare skills, so it's you can understand the temptation to constantly want to get the ball to him. But the opposition also understand that, and they find out ways to shut it down. They double team him, and that's the end of Kalen, and suddenly the Knights are struggling to score points. So what they're doing is they're creating shot opportunities elsewhere in their attack. And that's going to free up when Kalen comes back from injury, and then with Dylan Brown back this weekend, hopefully. You're never quite sure when he might play, might not. But with Dylan Brown back this weekend, hopefully you're going to allow those extremely talented players to be able to just put that little flourish on that they can bring and do that special stuff that's going to work for them. So I think I really like what the Knights are doing. I like the way they're playing. They're a real team-oriented team. They're a real Newcastle team in many ways. So it's good to see.
So, Kenty, is Kalen Ponga being out a kind of weird blessing in disguise?
Yeah, for sure. What it's done, Warren, it's allowed the rest of the team to trust in what Justin Holbrook's been teaching them.
Yeah, right.
So they've sat there. They've been so dependent on Ponga for so long. Holbrook said, "No, this is how we're going to play." Suddenly, Ponga's not playing. He's injured. Boys, we're going to stick to the plan. They're winning games. That belief that creates is extraordinary. And then when you bring Ponga back in, he's not going to come back in to save the team. He's going to come back in to add to the team. It puts him in a really good spot.
Another team with a new coach is the Titans, 14th currently. Started the season very slowly. This time last year, they were 11th, finished 16th. It's interesting, at the start of the season, we were talking about Josh Hannay, and we thought how much of an influence he would have, and then that didn't happen, and everyone was kind of like, well, what the hell's going on? The last couple of weeks,
you're starting to
through.
Yeah, we're starting to see now what he's doing, and again, they're a side that's responding to his coaching, and they're playing in a way that you just sit there and it's a very team-oriented way. It's about, boys, we've got to get together, and we've all got to get our job done to win the game. Not good enough. We haven't got enough individual stars to go out and single-handedly win games. And they're believing in what they're being taught. That's so important, to be able to believe in what the coach is teaching you. And the Titans are showing signs of that. Their demolition of Parramatta was extraordinary. One Parramatta quit, I think, which was disappointing for the Eels, but also the fact that the Titans just held their composure and just kept coming at them and just as much as they could, just stayed within what their style of footy is. It shows that they're on the up.
Are you surprised with what Josh Hannay's done there? Because there was a lot of talk last season about how unbalanced their roster was. Too many halfbacks, too many $1 million middles.
Well, they lost Fafita, so that's and that's probably helped them, to be fair, because he was a big name, big reputation within the club. Hannay has gone back to very much. Get the right sort of fit for the team. If the shoe fits, put it on, sort of stuff.
Nothing less than what he's done with Ilias, bringing Ilias in, who's an out-and-out 7.
Yeah, and Ilias has had his ups and downs so far in his career. Like, he's had a lot already, given how young he is. But he's just playing what he can play to. Jaden Campbell, I think he's in terrific form, and he's playing some really good football, and he's playing a real free style of football. He's just playing what he plays, and Hannay's been good enough to be able to recognise that. And mate, you play this way, but around that, he's put structure, he's put belief, he's put discipline in their game, and he's putting expectations in their game and accountability in their game, and that's one thing. They love a cuddle these days, the modern player. You've got to give them a lot of cuddles.
Yep.
And the Titans are getting their cuddles, and they're responding to it.
One thing they need to be obviously a little bit lucky with is injuries. They don't seem to have a lot of depth there.
There's not a lot of depth there, but so far they've been going well with that.
The Dragons, spoken a lot about the Dragons the last 2 weeks. They're in 17th. This time last year, 10th, finished 15th.
Yeah, they're a bit like Parramatta. They're getting the travel brochures in. Season's over for them. Look, the Dragons are fighting for survival, as far as I see it. They're fighting for their reputation. They're fighting for their mental welfare, from the point of view that how often can you just keep getting beat? I didn't think the Dragons were a wooden spoon team. I thought they were a long way from that. The one thing I saw out of the Dragons last year was they were always tough to beat, but their back's been broken. They're not tough to beat now. They're going out, they're giving a bit of a crack, and then they go through periods where it's just like, we're not good enough. We saw a little bit of an uprising against Manly what was it, 16-0 down? They got it back to 16-all, but then they faded again. That's what the Dragons. If I'm Shane Flanagan, that's what I think his first thing he's got to get back is to get that fight back, which is hard to make the players believe with everything that's happening at the club at the moment. It's so difficult to make them believe that what you're teaching them is the right thing to do, is the right way to play.
Problem with the Dragons is so much outside noise, and then there's inside noise coming from, like yesterday's Loco thing.
Yeah.
When you're a team,
and that's the difficulty of it.
That
Pacifica Tonga thing was the last thing they needed. As just far as getting themselves mentally right and getting themselves mentally up for a game to try and win this weekend. That's the problem they're facing, and that's the difficulty. And that's where you see teams when they go through these losing spells, their energy is just really poor. Without getting all hippie on it, energy can be felt round clubs, and Shane Flanagan's got to try and change that somehow. And so, and the old way you used to do it, you'd just change it up at training, have a games night, have something there. I don't know if they do that anymore.
Harbour Cruise.
Well, Harbour Cruise.
We know how that went last year.
Yeah, but look, they won the comp.
Yeah. Okay, so the Dolphins 12th. This time last year, 14th, finished 9th.
Well, last year the problem for the Dolphins was the defence. They were the best attacking team in the comp. We're waiting for that to happen. They've had a few issues this year attacking-wise. Jeremy King Marshall has been missing. I think the two halves are coming, just the speed of the line against them now is coming out a bit quick. They're not getting that dominant play of the ball that they've needed, that they got last year certainly, and because of that, they're under more pressure when they're getting the ball.
Teams are definitely attacking Katoa.
They are. Definitely. They're going after him, and it's having an effect on their attack. It's once he's under pressure, he's been rushed for time, and the one thing we've always marveled at with him is how well he performs with the time he's given. He's always a player, and Andrew Johns constantly speaks about it. It looks like he's got so much time. But this year he is getting flustered a little bit. They're getting to him quicker. They're putting him under pressure, and it's affecting their whole attack. The hammer hasn't been as effective as he has been. They were number one for attack last year. Where are they now?
They're 13th for attack.
13th for attack. Well, there you go. And that's the big change in the Dolphins this year. They've got to. I do think they've tried to put a lot of work into their defence. But it's come at a cost, if that's the case, to their attack. But they need to improve all round.
Finally, talk to me about South, who started the season very well, promised a lot, best left edge in the game.
Yeah. Look, they're all right. They're going okay, South Sydney. They're a side that they had so many injuries last year. The football, it's not even worth looking at. There's nothing you can learn from last year because it's a different team with the injuries. With Cameron Murray back, he's just so good for that side. He is such a player, and I really love what he brings. The left edge is still dangerous. I really like what Bennett's done by actually putting a threat on the right side with Jack White and Campbell Graham. They have been really dangerous, and they give the opposition something more to think about because they were so dominant left side attack that you basically just stacked that side defensively. You put an extra defender over that side to try and shut them down. Now you've got to respect Graham and Whiten over on the other side. They're a bottom of the 8 type of team. I think the Rabbitohs. I don't think they'll finish top 4, but they certainly have a finals chance. They've just got to stay consistent, and they've got that in them. So, yeah, we'll wait and see. But there's promising signs there for a good season.
To finish this off, let's go through your predicted ladder finish, Kenty.
Yeah, this is where I'm just going to get smashed.
Yeah, guys, mark this down. We'll put this on YouTube and you can reference it in the future.
See where I put your team and tell me why I'm an idiot that they're so low on the ladder.
Very good. All right, we'll start off. The premiers will be Penrith, 2 will be Warriors, 3 the Roosters, 4 the Tigers, 5 the Bulldogs, then the Cowboys, Dolphins and Brisbane round out the top 8, which means...
I had Brisbane in the 8, didn't I? I had them missing the 8, I thought.
Which means the Rabbitohs and the Knights, who we were talking about.
Well, that's all interchangeable too. That'll be decided by one game. The points difference between who runs 8th and who runs 9th.
Mate, you've just written this. You can't back down.
No, but I'm putting caveats on it. I'm putting caveats on it. Look, it is written on paper.
There's a few brackets there.
It is written on paper, not chiseled in stone, Warren.
Very good. Then the 11th, Raiders, Sharks, Storm, Manly, Titans, Eels, and the Dragons.
And so I've got Storm missing out.
Because and the Sharks and the Raiders.
And the Raiders, yeah. But what I've done, that's not so much a personal feeling. That is based on, if you look at round 6 last year and how the ladder looked after round 27, and then look at round 6 after this year, and there's not a lot of movement. That's my point.
That's the important part.
Now, this could all get blown out of the water because of the way the game is now being defended differently than what last year is. There's a lot of things that applied last year don't matter. So it might all be wrong, but I just thought I'd just apply. Look,
it's an interesting take.
Gives everyone something to talk about anyway.
Very good.
So.
All right, well, it's preview time now, brought to you by PointsBet.
Game starts in 2. Got to be quick.
You need something quick? I got something blistering. 5 for 25 from PointsBet. It's like hot sauce, but for sport. 5 taps, and it's on.
Yeah, that's hot.
Aw, thanks, babe.
5 for 25. Only available on PointsBet. Yeah, that's built different. Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
All right, let's start off with some previews, Kenty. Cowboys playing the Seagulls.
It's interesting. Both teams are on winning streaks. One's going, I think, 3 in a row. One's 4 in a row. So I think Cowboys at home. You've got to take Cowboys home. I like what they're doing. They've got plenty. It's going to be, again, a lot of points scored, and the Cowboys have got points in them. Joe
Walsh on the bench. Any chance of playing?
I doubt it. I don't know. I think they'll sort of wait till he gets probably an easier game. They'll give him a run there.
Raiders on Friday, first game. Raiders $2.10 paying the Storm $1.73. Tamale's back in New South Wales Cup.
Yeah. Look, I think the Raiders at that price, $2.10 are a great bet.
Both teams super out of form.
Well, neither team's playing well, and both of them defensively are so poor. The Raiders, as we know, do have points in them, so anything can happen. Whoever gets the mojo right this week, they're the team to pick. But who that is anyone's guess. But
you're surprised Bellamy didn't make changes?
No, I don't. You know what? This goes to the problem we've talked about all week with St. George. Bellamy's looked at his team and said, "These are the best guys I've got. These are the guys that are going to get me out of trouble. These guys who can get me out of trouble." He hasn't got that many guys in lower grades who've got to come in and fix his problems. Same situation at St. George, Illawarra. Okay, same predicament. Same solution.
Well, the fans,
but the fact is, different fans.
The fans that say they're coming first in New South Wales Cup at the Dragons. But anyway, let's look at the.
I dare say that the Storm will be going all right with their fan clubs too.
Let's look at the second game on Friday night. The Dolphins $4.50 paying Penrith $1.19.
Yeah, that's about right too. It's played in Darwin. That's going to be interesting. I think there's rain forecast.
Yeah, right.
And if it's not rain, the humidity is going to make it feel like it's raining anyway. So it's going to be a very.
You been to Darwin?
No, I haven't.
Bloody hot up there. Jeez.
Oh, yeah, well.
We had a few Darwin stubbies. I hope they still sell those. They used to sell litre.
Mate, do you always have to go that way?
Oh, I've got to talk about beer. Jeez, I'm thirsty already.
But look, I think Penrith are just too good. Whether the Darwin heat can kick in and cause problems for them, I doubt it. Penrith are renowned as being the fittest team in the competition. I think if you're the Dolphins, that's probably the one team you didn't want to play in Darwin.
Do you think
because you don't get any advantage there fitness-wise, having done all your training in Queensland.
Do you think what the Bulldogs did to them last week, do you think coaches will be looking? I mean, obviously
of course they are. Of course they are. They'll be looking at how they got to Cleary.
Yep.
And they'll be trying to keep doing that.
Yep.
And Cleary, though, he'll be looking at how they got to him, and he'll figure out a way around it.
Okay, first game on Saturday, Warriors $1.30 playing the Titans $3.40.
Yeah, again, Warriors to me are a top 4 side. I really like the way they're going.
They return to Auckland, obviously.
Well, they go back to Auckland. They owe the Auckland fans a better showing than last time they played there. And I just think that they missed 80 tackles in those 2 games they lost. They got it right last weekend. I think it was only 25 tackles, I think, in the game or something like that. So they got themselves going again, and I think they'll be too strong this week.
South $1.23 paying the Dragons $4. No David Fafita for South, out for 6 weeks.
Yeah, look, again, we're going to get a really good indicator of the health of St George Illawarra and the health of the coaching at St George Illawarra with how they go. Souths are a side that Saints could trouble, I think, if they come out and they compete and they get in the contest. They're a side that it's I don't know. I wouldn't say they're there to be beaten, but they can certainly push them the whole way, and they can jag a win. I think they're capable of doing that. So we'll wait and see. So, but if all the noise we're hearing is just blokes kicking stones and it's all true, then Rabbitohs could absolutely flog them.
Matt Duffy returns at fullback. Obviously, he was the chosen one at the Dragons for a number of years. Hasn't played there. Interesting story. Went over and played in the UK. Came back to South, not on a contract.
Yeah, he
got paid $5,000 or something.
Yeah, he came back on a wasn't even training trial.
No, it wasn't even that.
It wasn't even that. But I think he rang. Was it Ben Hornby who he knew from his St George Illawarra days, and just said if you got anything, and he just said, "Well, mate, it's the best we can offer you." So it's a real redemption story, isn't it?
What? Just last thing on South, are you interested? Bennett called for the kickoff rule to change.
Well, Bennett was the one pushing it over the off-season. And with all these blowouts we're seeing, he sees that as the solution. Look, it would offer a solution.
I think it's good.
The question is, do we want a solution?
Or whether or not we want a solution or the powers that be want a solution.
Well, the question is, do you want a solution? Do you want that to be the answer to all these six agains? Because it doesn't really solve the six again. It just puts a Band-Aid over it for me. Okay. That's how I see it.
It does stop the blowouts, though.
Not necessarily. Yeah. Like you go down and you drop the ball, tackle two, suddenly they're coming after you, aren't they?
Let's talk about the last game on Saturday night. Tigers $1.48 playing the Broncos $2.60. Tigers have never beaten the Broncos at Campbelltown.
Yeah.
Ever.
And it began, I think, with the baby Broncos in 2002. Yeah. Which I was on my way to the game that night. My car broke down. I was working. I had to report. I had a bloke from another paper sitting next to me. Car broke down. Yeah. We got the NRMA. We said, we'll make it. We got 100 yards up the road. He'd fixed the wrong thing. He'd just driven off. We had to wait. Anyway, we never made it.
You got to change those tyres by yourself, mate.
It was the battery. I was driving an old bomb. But anyway, look, you'd have to, again, $2.60 and they've never lost there. I know they're down on numbers. They're not the grand final side that ran out last year, but they're still the Broncos. They've still got some very, very good players in that side, and they've got players who are going to be up for the fight. The difference this year is the footy is always, whereas in the past it's always suited the Broncos, this year the footy suits the Tigers. So I wouldn't take the short money, but the Tigers probably win.
Big night in Campbelltown that night. I hope they're feral out there at Campbelltown. Feral fans.
Broncos with the start would be the best bet there.
Okay. The Roosters play the Knights on Sunday. Dylan Brown is back for the Knights.
Yeah, and I'm really fascinated to see how he goes, to be honest.
Fletcher Sharp to fullback and then Fletcher Hunt into the halves.
Yeah, and look, they're like a Swiss Army knife at the moment. The Knights are sort of just switching around. They're just playing good footy. Yep. Blokes are just filling in where they need to play. They're showing their footballers. Dylan Brown, he excites me to see what he can do at Newcastle, particularly given how well they've gone without him and Ponga in the team. They've really set a base there now for Brown and Ponga to come into this side when Ponga's eventually back as well, to come in and just add to it. Not come in and rescue the team, but just to come in and add to it. And Dylan Brown, ever since he came in at Parramatta 18, I thought, God, what a player this kid is. And I think he's really just set to fulfil that now.
Last game on Sunday, the Eels $4 playing the Bulldogs $1.23. This could be anything if the Eels can't defend and the Bulldogs play like they did last weekend.
Yeah, I think that's the way it's going to go. The Eels have got a couple of players back, a couple of forwards back, so that's going to help them. But their defence, it's 37 points a game they're allowing. 226 points they've allowed in 6 games. You just can't let that many points in. If Lachlan Galvin runs the ball at halfback like he did last week, and he forces the Parramatta defence to make choices, and then he's got these ball runners outside him, it could be anything. And that's got to be the secret. I just hope he just watches plenty of tape of last week and says, right, this is how we want you to play halfback. That's what he does, and then he'll kick.
Interesting. Last thing is Gus came out on his show on Monday Night Footy talking about how teams are rigging the interchanges with HIA.
Yeah.
The team they're playing this weekend has had the most interchanges in the last 30 games. You got to think he was
I don't know how the NRL can fix it though. How do they fix it, mate? It's not right. As I said, blokes have got up holding their shoulder. You see blokes, they get taught. They bust the shoulder. They get taught to get up and pretend it's a head. But they do the opposite as well. They'll go in, they'll get knocked out, and they get up, they start getting dizzy, and they pretend it's a shoulder. Grab a leg, whatever it is. Look, they're too smart.
What's on this weekend, Kenny?
Oh, just
more of the same?
More healing. I don't know. I haven't got any plans, mate. More of the same. Things are pretty quiet.
Very good. There's an episode of Chiming In tomorrow morning, which is an interesting one. There's one game wonders. You can watch that tomorrow morning on YouTube.
Who's that?
I can't tell you.
Oh, okay.
Can't tell you. Can't say it's a surprise.
It's not me.
Actually, you get a mention. It's not about you, but you did get a mention.
Mate, I wish. I never told anyone that.
Yeah.
It came out as a trivia question about 15 years later.
Yeah. From
David Middleton on radio.
Well, he's the one who mentions it.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, well, there you go. So he brought it up, and I haven't lived it down since.
So Middo, basically on this show, talks about the one game wonders, and he does mention Kenty, but he's got interviews with other blokes. It's actually quite good. Anyway, thanks again for another good week, guys, and until next week, we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.